So it's another day and the war rages on. Word has it that Russia is going to disconnect from the global internet on the 11th. That means citizens of Russia will only be able to access sites that are hosted on Russian servers. Many think this is a prelude to cyber attacks about to come from Russia. I don't know that this is true. But one thing I can tell you for certain is this. Klaus Schwab, the bizarre creature from the World Economic Forum, has warned that his worst fear is a global cyber attack. So it's more possible that Putin understands that a global attack is in the works and wants his nation isolated. The elites have this satanic ritual where they have to tell you what they're going to do without telling you. Like when they held their giant meeting in New York talking about what would happen if a global pandemic hit, and just like that, a global pandemic hit. So there's no doubt that Klaus and his cronies have a global cyber attack planned. This is without a doubt the most worrisome thing we face. Imagine a global attack on infrastructure. Power out, water processing out, banking down, cash registers offline. There's no end to the mess we'd be in because everything we do now is somehow connected to online. This is the reason I've been writing the Dark Winter series. I don't know who he's referring to. If they pull a global cyber hack and everything goes down, it would be nice to be able to live through it. Oil spiked to over $135 a barrel this weekend, but cooled off a bit down to $124. This is going to cripple us. Everyone thinks somehow that electricity just comes out of these wall outlets. They don't seem to understand that it takes fossil fuel to make the stuff. With coal doubling in price, oil doubling in price, natural gas doubling in price, your electric bill is going to soar. The Dow futures are down $500. It isn't pretty out there. Gold was briefly over $2,000 last night. If I could give you one word of advice today, I'd say get up, head to the grocery store and buy $1,000 worth of food, because it will be higher next week and the week after that and the week after that. We are in deep doo-doo. Well, all right. Take that for what you will. I bounced that idea off the CP today. I said, why don't you go buy $1,000 worth of groceries? And she scoffed. She doesn't think that's necessary.
She said, why are you trying to trim down my bill?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Why are you cutting me off?
But in all honesty, because after the Friday show, when you depressed the living hell out of all of us, we were all doing some thinking over the weekend. All of us are completely aware that fossil fuels and the price of gas affects everything. Mm-hmm. So it was reported that the Biden administration has either reached out or has already tried to meet with Saudi Arabia about oil production.
He's going over there.
Why are these idiots not realizing that we need to produce oil here?
Mm-hmm. Even
why is this so hard for them to understand?
Even Elon Musk,
right,
who going against his own pocketbook is saying, "Look, we need gasoline."
Hey, Joe, we need to get this going here.
Right.
If that doesn't tell you everything you need to know, I don't know what will. The largest manufacturer of electric vehicles just told the president, you need to upgrade your oil production.
I haven't figured it out yet, but to go along Friday's theme, there's a...
what was Friday's theme? We're bleeped?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's going to be a level of world inconvenience.
To put it mildly.
I need a better word. Well, I don't want to get apocalyptic, but there's going to be a level of world turmoil that we have not seen, and it's almost as though this attack on Ukraine is a beard for that. It's almost a ruse, and that there are things going on that obviously we don't know anything about. But what we do know is what we can see with our own eyes. I got gas yesterday, and the cheapest octane was damn near $4. So that'll be $4 or $5. And I told you Friday that's going to end up being the least of our problems. Because if it's going to be $5, it's going to be $8. And if it's going to be $8, it's going to be $10. And then pretty soon it's going to be $0 because there won't be any.
Interesting piece in the op-ed yesterday, Star Tribune. Wake up, World War III has begun.
I happen to believe that.
Yep.
And 75% of that war, we see 25% of that war. It's happening on the streets of Ukraine. 75% of the war is yet unknown to us. Mm-hmm. That would be my rounded off numbers.
Would you like 20 seconds of the Energy Secretary, Pete Buttigieg, by the way?
Sure.
He's got an answer to how we can fix this.
Okay.
Clean transportation can bring significant cost savings for the American people as well. Last month, we announced a $5 billion investment to build out a nationwide electric vehicle charging network so that people from rural to suburban to urban communities can all benefit from the gas savings of driving an EV.
Please
It's
tell me
all
that
a
was,
lie.
That
It's
was
all a lie.
That was January 1st, right, Chris? That wasn't in the last 2 weeks, was it?
Unfortunately, I believe this took place on Friday. Was it Friday?
He also said we don't need long-term solutions, meaning producing more oil, to short-term problems, meaning this current spike in gas.
I misspoke. He's the Secretary of Transportation.
What did
by
you
the way.
call him?
I said energy. I don't know
Oh,
why
yeah,
I said
he's
energy.
Secretary.
He's also obviously on Putin's payroll because that's at this point in our history, that's anti-American.
Well, it's being reported on numerous sites that what needs to be investigated is Russia's covert funding of U.S. anti-fossil fuel groups. In 2014, the same year Russia annexed Crimea, then North Atlantic Treaty Organization Secretary General Anders Fogh Rasmussen warned that Russia was covertly working to undermine European and U.S. fossil fuel production. 3 years later, in 2017, Representative Lamar Smith, Republican Texas, and Randy Weber, Republican Texas, sent a lengthy letter to then Treasury Secretary Stephen Mnuchin making a similar accusation. Importantly, their letter connected some of the dots, highlighting Russia's covert attempts to fund various environmental organizations that were trying to limit or end U.S. hydraulic fracturing or fracking for shale gas and oil. The media and Democrats mostly shrugged their shoulders at these allegations. They were far too busy trying to prove the now discredited Russian Trump election collusion to be bothered with a more plausible Russian environmental activist collusion. Maybe Russia's invasion of Ukraine will force these naysayers to reconsider the accusations and evidence and begin with new investigation. According to The Guardian, Rasmussen, who was also a former Prime Minister of Denmark, claimed in a presentation to a think tank in London, "I have met allies who can report that Russia, as part of their sophisticated information and disinformation operations, engaged actively with so-called non-governmental organizations, environmental organizations working against shale gas to maintain Europe's dependence on imported Russian gas." He declined to give details, saying only, "This is my interpretation." NATO's press office said the remarks were Rasmussen's personal views, not official NATO policy. But a NATO official did tell The Guardian Russia has been using a mix of hard and soft power in its attempt to recreate a sphere of influence, including through a campaign of disinformation on many issues, including energy. Well, if this is true, we don't know if it is. If it's true, it's working.
Yeah, it is.
It's working.
Yes.
Because we have managed to elect a political class that has bought into the obscene nonsense that we're just harming the earth with the use of fossil fuels, when the truth is you're going to be harming the earth far worse just mining the stuff you need to build batteries for electric cars.
Right.
Wouldn't this also align with your theory from last Friday? The bigger picture, the bigger shell game that's actually going on that we're not even remotely aware of?
Mm-hmm.